Madness. Common network.
Woo!
Hey, yo, it's me, Pops Van Marmalade, and you're watching the Comics-Related Madness Network. So come get some.
Let's see. There we go. Should be able to hear me. Volume should be good. Everybody hear me okay? All 2, 3 of you? Who knows? Been trying to get this up and running for about 45 minutes with Pops. Thanks, buddy. Really appreciate it. Nothing having to do with technology is ever point and click, even when it says point and click. Don't fall for it. So, RomoArt, Uncle Mike, we're back here again. And this is going to be the first live stream, actually. This is, I wasn't planning on doing lives yet, but the situation, the opportunity presented itself, and yeah, okay, cool. Let's do it. Figured today we'll start talking about a couple things. I want to talk about Sector 7. Sector 7, some of the design aspects. I mean, here's the thing. I've got some videos up already on YouTube, on my RomoArt YouTube channel. A lot of it having to do with just indie, the indie business, basically, some behind the scenes stuff, what it's like actually trying to get the book, an indie book published. What are some of the things that are talked about that may not make it into the public sector? Not ruffling any feathers or anything, but just some of the actual trials and tribulations that you don't often see. But what I haven't done, and there's certain reasons, is I haven't done too much of the art side of things. And the reason why is because, number one, I haven't been able to figure out, I haven't had time, to be honest, to figure out how to do the live streaming, how to do the screen sharing. Like, this whole thing is so new to me. So being presented with this opportunity and having help from Pops, which is amazing. He's got all the patience in the world. The guy's a saint. It's hopefully we can get into the more art aspect of things. And also, the reason why I can't really show a whole lot of art that I'm doing is I'm doing it for someone else. The art that I'm doing right now, Sector 7's got a lot of art done, and Sector 7 is up and it's funding on Fund My Comic right now. So that art aspect is done. If we fund, I'll do more. If not, whatever, back to the drawing board, we'll just represent it. So the art that I'm doing now to actually help pay the bills is for a different person. It's for Chris Faction. It's called Nano 13, and I can't show anything without his permission. So I don't want to, again, I don't want to step on any toes with Chris, and he's really helped me out. So there's a few promo images on Twitter for Nano 13. I'm gonna try to get Chris on for an interview. He doesn't know that yet, so I'm I'm saying this to you now without Chris even knowing. I'm gonna try to get him on though. He's got an interesting story. Chris has an interesting story to share, and yeah, I think that'd be a good first kind of interview to do, and maybe show some artwork live for that. For those of you who might not have Twitter, or I can't imagine anyone doesn't have Twitter. Even I have Twitter now. I can't stand it. I hate Twitter. Twitter on the weekends. Oh my God! It's first of all, it's a ghost town. There's no one there. Twitter, anyone you want to see from actually like Friday to late Monday, there's no one there. And on the weekends, if you scroll down probably more than about 30 to 40 seconds, you start hitting all the crazy political stuff. You know how many people I've seen be shot on Twitter? Like literally, I remember 15 years ago, you couldn't show that on YouTube. The violence thing was really some street fight, sure, but I literally see people straight up shot on Twitter every weekend. It's fucking horrible. It's a horror show. So I mean, oh my God! Like you're sitting there and you're like trying to go to bed. You're like, oh my God, I can't believe that. So yeah, so that's the downfall of Twitter on the weekends. So what I'd like to do is I'm gonna try this. This is the first time, so this is either gonna work or you're gonna see me have an embolism live on this. So I'm gonna try to share my screen and bring up my FMC campaign, my Fund My Comic campaign for Sector 7, and look at the art there, and kind of go through my thought process. My thought process on the aesthetics, on the designs, what I think, and how I go about things is different per project. I try to tailor what I'm doing, even style wise, to the project to give it to be what it needs. So let me see what I can do here. I'm gonna do what Pops told me. So if this doesn't work, it's still my fault because Pops knows what he's doing. I don't. Let's see. Share screen. Okay, I'm gonna share screen. It's easiest with two monitors. I don't have two monitors, so you're gonna share it because I told you so. And let's see. Sector 7. I think this might be it. If this is point and click, that's amazing. So let me see. Let me see here. Give me 1 second. Let me come back because I lost you guys now.
No, you didn't lose us.
I didn't lose you?
No.
Well, I'm trying to find you. Let's see. Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay. Now I'm back. All right. So let's see here. How do I?
Okay, so check it out. Don't worry about how you look. You can even make this a full screen thing where that's all they see is that.
Oh, no kidding.
And then go back to that page and scroll through it and talk about it like you want. Don't worry about how you look, bro.
All right. Oh, I rarely ever care about how I look, if you can tell. So
yeah, we're going to teach you how to do this. You're going to be a pro in no time.
This is a live tutorial, guys. So bear with us. So I'm going back. All right, I'm gonna go back now. Let's see here, because I wanted to show you guys some of the art and let's see. Come on. Can you still see it okay? Let's see.
We can see it just fine.
Just fine. Okay. All right. So
you got to be on that tab in order to scroll through it, though.
Okay, I got you.
You see,
So there's
from here. Yeah.
There's the amazing. Oh my God! Look at that! Look at that picture from Rob Willis. Ugh, I can't even, dude. I've said it before. When he sent me back this image, now this I'm about to talk about my artwork, and this artwork puts me to shame. I mean, the dude is an absolute black and white genius. I mean,
Carrie.
the tones and textures are unreal. I love it. So, okay, here are some pages. Now, I want to go to some of there's some character
It's
stuff.
not scrolling, man.
It's not scrolling at all?
No, it's not scrolling. It's like frozen. Let me go ahead and share it.
All right.
Because I don't know why. It's just still looking at the very top of the page.
Yeah.
So let me see if I can share it, and we'll get on to showing the people what you want to show them.
All right.
Let's see. Sector 7 funded by comic. Oh, I know why. It's probably because you didn't get rid of that little. See that little green dot, that little green box down the left?
Where?
On your Sector 7, the cookie thing down on the left.
Oh, yeah. I got rid of it.
Yeah, well, we can all still see it, so it's like frozen or something.
Oh, okay.
Try refreshing it.
All right, give me 1 second. Boom, boom. Refreshing the page. Did you guys see the refresh?
No. That's
Nope.
what it's like totally froze out. Hold on. I'll put mine up there. All right, here we go. This is mine. I'll just go ahead and scroll down through this. Okay, is that what you were looking at?
Yeah, that's Rob Willis's pick. That's what we were looking at. So for me, it was frozen. Okay, well, that happens.
Yeah,
So
don't worry.
let's see here.
We good. Actually, you can go ahead and stop sharing, and then you won't have to worry about it. You can just, make sure that I'm showing what you want to see.
All right, I went ahead and stopped that. Yep. And then if you scroll down.
Here's the backstory for everybody who wants to read it. We're not reading all that right now. He can tell you the much more condensed Reader's Digest type version. Oh, look at the old ride. Look at that.
Yeah. 1969 is the first page. That's when it starts. The night of the moon landing, or day, depending on where you are.
And nice little shot of the moon there.
Yeah.
Okay. I like the pipe, the Hugh Hefner look on, dude.
Oh, you got to. Dude, everyone smoked back then. No one cared. Pipes and donuts. Everyone ate donuts. Oh, what a time. What a time to be alive.
And then what happened here?
Okay, so on the night of the moon landing, our story kicks off with nuclear warfare, basically. So on the night of the moon landing, Russia gets jealous and sends some nukes off, and then we send ours, and then basically the entire northern hemisphere is decimated, which is how the story begins. That's like literally the first 5 pages of the book is the moon landing and seeing this happen. And
so
what
blame it on Neil? Is that what you're saying?
Well, if not that he was actually there, but but yeah, you can blame a lot of things on Neil, I'm sure. So. And then basically after those 5 pages, this is just a nice little quick setup. After those 5 pages, it skips forward to the future. And everyone is beneath what they call the veil, which is the nuclear demarcation line. Everyone's in the southern hemisphere now. Basically half the population is left. And they live in different colonies scattered across the southern hemisphere. And so the rest of the story, besides the 5 pages, which is set up to how we get to where we are, the rest of the story takes place in a alternate timeline, basically, an alternate future. But it's not nuclear. It's not like end of the world scenario. They actually ended up building quite a beautiful utopia, and everyone is working together and everything's good. But there are some people, from the old world, and so along with the utopia came breakthroughs and everything, including life extension. So there are people alive in this future that were alive during World War II. So it's a pretty interesting time. And some people wonder, because half the world's gone, Well, how long is it going to take before we start to procreate ourselves into a war over resources? Because people are living longer, good life, having babies, and it's a genuine concern among some people. And then there are other people that just think that, you know what, we got over the worst that we could ever get through. We'll make it happen. We'll deal with it. And some people aren't so sure. And that's basically the war for resources. When half the world is already decimated and completely unusable, that's the friction point. That's the friction point for Sector 7. And couple shots of some main characters here. Everything was written by Matt Boyce, and there's character descriptions beneath. He did a great job. I set up the Fund My Comic page, and Matt went in and retooled it, and it looked 1,000 times better. 1,000. But he has a degree in web design or computer or whatever. Matt's kind of a genius. I am not. I'm an artist. I'm not tech savvy at all. So Matt really did a nice job on the site. So you can see in this picture, I think we're all looking at the same thing. That car right there. That car. A lot. So how I approached this book. This book is actually older than you would think. This book was started probably about 7 years ago, before I had my first child. And I had my child when I was 40 years old. So I started late. And I never had a kid before. And I had no idea, wow, what that will do to you. So I had done a bunch of pages, and then basically life does what it does. Kicks you off track a little bit. And this past year was time to get it back out. And I looked at the designs, and they were okay, but the original designs were more standard, I would say 1980s future tech sci-fi. Flying cars, but flying cars, cool buildings, but the tech people they've seen before. And within the past 6 years, I've become a better artist. So I was like, I gotta make this so special. I gotta do something that people haven't seen, or at least I haven't seen. And that's where I came into the idea of retrofitting, just not designing new future vehicles, but retrofitting old vehicles that you've seen before, like a 1970s Lincoln, you know what I mean? But with flying wheels and with anti-grav technology. So that's what I really wanted to do for this book, is give it a completely unique aesthetic. And even the wardrobe for Sector 7, I had never gone this deep before into design. I've never had to, really. And the wardrobe is actually from anywhere from 1920 to 1960s. And you're going to see people wearing different types of garb that have to do with basically those decades. And it's a pretty unique, it's not something that I had seen before in a comic book. And I haven't seen everything, but if I haven't seen it, it's probably not mainstream enough. I don't go too deep into stuff, but so that's where I was thinking about how to make this look unique, look special. Everything about this being already knowing that a kaiju book is going to be a hard sell, because a kaiju is like there's mainstream, there's indie, and then there's kaiju indie. So it's like triple tier down. It's a niche of a niche of a niche. So I needed to make sure that everything about this would just pop. And the design aspect is a big one, especially the design of the monsters. Actually, when I was designing the monsters, I didn't want the normal kind of Godzilla type stuff, because obviously it's perfected. It's been done, perfected, and there's no point. It's already been done. What I looked at was really video game design. For a long time, I think video games, the design aspect for video games has far surpassed even movies. Video game design is maybe today still untouchable, even though the games I don't think are as good as they were 6-7 years ago. The designs are top notch. So when I designed the monsters, I thought more towards the video game aesthetic. There are some monsters with tech. There are some monsters without tech. And I didn't want to make them too big. I didn't want them to be world stompers. The new Godzilla is pretty big, and they make it work, but realistically, he's freaking huge.
Yeah.
these are more like probably about 5 stories, 3 to 5 stories. Easily crush a bus, but not a they're not going to step on a skyscraper. So that's basically the aesthetic that I was going for. I wanted just different. Just all I could do is think okay, I want flying cars because I don't believe in sci-fi in a future without flying cars. I need my flying cars. I've always loved them. But how can I make them look different? So that's what I did. It's a retrofitting game. And for me,
you know what it reminds me of?
What?
Do you know Lola?
No.
Coulson's car in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a Corvette.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Old Corvette that flies.
Yep.
That's what that reminds me of.
Yeah. That's great. That's funny. I never thought of that once, but I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. And I kind of wanted some of them. I wanted to make like some of them have rust on them, and you could tell like there's latches holding the hood down. You know what I mean? And for me, it stretched. It personally stretched my drawing ability because I am not a tech artist. There are some artists that can do tech that it's just like, it's just amazing. It's just so beautiful. I'm not that guy. So I had to really stretch my artistic muscles to do this. And it came out really nice. I'm really glad that people like it. I like it. So I wasn't, afraid of what people might think. I mean, I'm pretty much my harshest critic in every area of my life. So that's basically Sector 7, what I was thinking. Now, from Sector 7, I'm now doing Nano 13 for Chris. Totally different book, totally different feel. Nano 13 is a very dark, gritty, Ridley Scott type alien type sci-fi, right? And the style's mine, but I did go darker, heavier shadows, more blacks, more of, I want to say like a David Finch-esque type of rendering that fits his book. I mean, David Finch rendering could almost fit any book. That guy's freaking amazing. But for Chris's book, you can tell it's me probably, but still it's as detailed as Sector 7 is. Nano 13 probably has twice as much detail in many of the pages. Because I think his story called for it, and it's a story that I really like, which is why I want to get Chris on here. I want to get Chris on here and talk to him. And again, Chris has a really unique story. I think everyone would enjoy. But so yeah, that's my thinking. And you know what? I actually might be doing a cross promotional pick for not a cross. I'm sorry, wrong usage. Not a cross promotional, a promotional pick for another creator that I was just talking to today. And for his book, which is a fantasy book, I'm going to use, it'll be me, you'll be able to tell it's me, but a much lighter style. I won't go heavy into the dark shadows, probably more towards Sector 7-ish, because that's what his stuff calls for. I try to tailor make my art to a certain extent to the particular creator I'm working with. I think that's actually pretty important, at least for me. I'm not the artist right now. It'd be great if I was, but I'm not the artist right now where people will tailor their stuff to what I like. You know what I mean? If you hire a top tier artist, you know what, like, there's people lined up. For me, I want the people to be lined up. So I'm willing to maneuver and adjust what I do to fit their story. And I think that's an important thing for me in my career right now. So, having talked about this, we can get Sector 7 off the screen, unless I can do it. I don't know. You can do it faster than me. There you go. So, easier done than said, I guess. Except for you. For me, it's a minor heart attack.
It's all the blue buttons, man. It's all blue buttons. If you're sharing a screen, it's a blue button at the top. You just close it.
Yeah.
It's like usually the buttons that are important are lit up with a color. Like you see where it says end broadcast up on the right, up in the corner.
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Don't hit that.
Don't hit that. Okay. All right. Don't hit that. All right. Excellent advice from Pops Van Zandt. Don't fucking touch it.
We've had people just when they were as a guest, they were leaving, but they're actually part of the network. Like RJ's done it, where he's just accidentally hit the end broadcast because that's what he does on his show.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? When
I do, yeah.
He just hit that, right? Oops.
Yeah.
He just shut our show off.
Oh man. See, for me, I would have an absolute heart attack. I can't. I mean, I'm getting better. I'm definitely getting. When it comes to this stuff, I'm a weird dude. Sometimes when I'm so far out of my league, I'm actually more relaxed. For instance, I have generalized anxiety. Part of my RomoArt channel has been talking about dealing with mental illness as an artist, and so I don't really have much anxiety driving. But that being said, I've talked to people who have driven in, even my father, who's an absolute killer. Two tours in Vietnam. Nothing scares the guy. Even he said driving in New York City is completely insane. Completely insane. I drove in New York City, and I was the most relaxed I've been in quite a while. And I'll tell you why. Because in New York City, you're expected to be an asshole. So I'm great, dude. No one, you're expected to do dumb shit because that's how you get to where you're going in New York City. So, I'm more afraid of making people mad at me than I hate that. I'm still kind of, neurotic about hurting people's feelings. But if you're expected to, then there's no rules. I'm perfectly happy. I'm perfectly fine. No one's going to yell at me. I don't give a shit.
I was one of those kids that was actually born in the driver's seat. Because there's nowhere on earth I feel more at home than driving a nice muscle car or something down the road. Nowhere in my life do I feel more at home than that spot. You know what I mean?
And so, I think I'm reincarnated as a house cat. I swear to God, because no more. Now, here's the thing. For me, no more am I more at home than at 11:30 at night, just watching TV with my wife. That's it. Any other moment of the day is just in the way of doing that, which is the only thing I want to do since I woke up.
Right.
That's fucking it. And I'm not even an outside cat. I'm an inside cat. I'm a house cat. There's nothing outside my door that I need. I don't want it. You could have it. It's so messed up now. I don't know who would want it. Not for me. I have my stuff, and I was always like that as a kid. I have my stuff in my house. You could leave me alone for hours. Cartoons, some tracing paper, you wouldn't know I was alive. I've always been that way. But that's what made me, that's what helped me be an artist too. It's just, I never had that adventurous go out and explore side. I had the, I'm inside, I like my stuff, and I'm going to watch cartoons and draw side. And I'm the first artist on either side of my family, which is really weird. Everyone else in my family, both sides, by the way, business, left brain, successful. Then there's Romo. So I'm trying to make it in a brand new genetic stream right now. They don't know what to do with me. I don't know what to do with me. Just doing my best here. So another thing I wanted to do tonight, because I had done a Romo review of My Adventures with Superman, the new Superman cartoon. I had done a previous one. I think it was on only episode 2 or 3, and now they're on 5. And I watched the new one today while I was at work. Thank God for the job that I have. And
where is that? Is that on some kind of streaming service?
Yeah, HBO Max. HBO Max is My Adventures with Superman. Now, okay, this is the weird thing, because I stick to my first review. All right, my first review, I frustratingly really like it. I almost feel bad liking it, because I feel like nowadays I'm supposed to hate everything because everyone hates everything, and I'm like, I kind of like it with some caveats. Okay, they're playing some games, they're riding the line though, but I still like it. And the gripe I had about the episode 4, I believe, was there wasn't a whole lot of Superman. There wasn't a whole lot of Superman, but strangely enough, I was still really entertained by the whole episode, even though Superman was 2 minutes at the end. This episode had more Superman. They're still doing the good stuff. I believe, in my opinion, and I know those characters pretty well, even with the race swapping, which I don't like. Race swapping is racist. It's not necessary. But even with that, Jimmy Olsen is still very Jimmy Olsen. Lois Lane, not playing strong women. She might kick someone sometimes, but Superman has also saved her. Lois Lane historically is a tough bitch. She doesn't so I don't mind if she plays a tougher role sometimes. That's actually on character if you've read any of the books for long enough. And Clark is different from Superman, so it's not like Henry Cavill. One of my big gripes was his Clark was exactly the same as his Superman. I might get I might get a lot of hate for this. Totally fine. Henry Cavill is not convincing as a human being on screen. I don't think he's a good actor. I really don't. I've seen him in quite a few roles. I've never thought he was a very good actor. Now, charming. Yeah, of course he's fucking charming. He's Henry. Look at him. He's a freaking Adonis with an English accent. I mean, he's got biceps as big as my fat head. Yes, he's charming. He's good looking. That's okay. Same with Brad Pitt. So I put him in the same classification as Brad Pitt. I'm not, when I'm looking at them on screen, I am not convinced that I'm not convinced that's a real person. Brad Pitt, I don't find to be a good actor. Good looking? Sure. Totally do magazine ads. Stay out of movies. I don't think he's a good actor. Henry Cavill, as charming as he may be, I don't think was a good Superman.
The dogs have an opinion about Brad Pitt.
And I agree. I agree with their opinion. Yeah. See, they get it. They get it. So Henry Cavill. Now, I can't blame him. I mean, it's the script, it's the director, it's both probably the studio. Who knows? But all I know is his Clark Kent was no different than his Superman. He literally walked the same. You could tell he was jacked. He wore a tweed jacket instead of a cape. That's it. Some glasses. There was no, when you looked at Christopher Reeves playing Superman, and this, I'll get back to the cartoon, but this is important. This is important for character. This is important for story.
Yeah, he looked at Christopher Reeves. He looked meek.
What's that?
He looked meek when he was Clark Kent. He played the part of a meek human being.
Unreal. And no one's done it better so far. No one's. Brandon Routh tried, but it was a copy of it. It wasn't his own. Although I think if he had gotten a second movie, I want to talk about Superman Returns. What do we got? We got 30 minutes. I can do this. So we're going to stick to Superman. We're going to go back to the cartoon. We're going to talk about Superman Returns, and I'm going to finish up with Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill, again, instead of a cape, he'd wear a tweed jacket with some glasses. His voice was the same. His mannerisms were the same. He was very stiff and jacked. It didn't work. It's one of my many gripes about the Man of Steel and those movies in general. Christopher Reeves, being a supremely talented actor, there was a scene in the first movie after he took Lois for that really weird, flying scene that was very awkward. It's very, I hate the word cringe. I can't stand like these new words. I hate cringe, but that is fucking cringe. So after he brings her home,
cringe is a very good descriptive word because, man, when you cringe, it describes that feeling.
It really does. It doesn't. I don't even think it aged. I think it was cringe back then too. It was not good. Yeah. So after he took her for a spin, he dropped her back home. He comes back in as Clark, and he's about to tell her. He's got his Clark garb on. He's hunched over, glasses. His voice totally different. And when he's about to tell her, he turns around. He takes his glasses off. He stands up straight, and he literally becomes a different person. If anyone could pull off the idea that Clark Kent is a good disguise, it was Christopher Reeves, because it was phenomenally done. And so that, now taking that and going back to the cartoon, Clark is different than Superman. In the cartoon, Clark is very awkward, which is on character. Superman is not, which is on character. And Lois isn't pushing Clark away, and Clark's trying to I like you. He's not being a wuss about it, and Lois isn't being aggressive about it. they really like each other, even though, I mean, it's a cartoon, but it's very, very cute to watch, and it's very endearing. And it's very well written. So on the basis of characterization of classic comic book characters alone, I give My Adventures with Superman a thumbs up. Completely. A Romo thumbs up. It really is it's way more accurate than any of the Snyder films. I mean, Amy Adams Amy Adams is a brilliant, brilliant actress. What the fuck happened? What happened? And she was unwatchable in any of the Snyder movies. I mean, I don't get it. I don't freaking get it. But so again, for baseline character comic accuracy, my personal opinion, they get a thumbs up. They're doing a really good job. All the characters are very young looking. That's the demographic they're going for. It's I mean, I'm 47 years old and I'm still really enjoying it. So I think with an open mind, anyone who watched it, who with a caveat, who likes Superman, if you don't like Superman, then what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
That was actually so the cartoon is still giving a thumbs up. That being said, I'm waiting for it to they're riding the line. Yeah. They're riding the line. I'm waiting for them to fall off the line. They're going to fall
off. The bottom to fall out from under it.
I'm telling you, it's in Pops, it's in the contract. They have to. Yeah. They have to. I don't know if it's going to be this season or they're going to get you really invested and then ruin it season 2, but it's going to come because that's their MO. So they're going to fall off eventually, but right now they are riding a line. Yes, there's race swapping. Some of it's annoying. Some of it's not. Perry White being African-American couldn't care less. Jimmy bugs the shit out of me. I don't know why. Some characters it works. I don't know why. It doesn't make sense, but some characters it works and some characters it doesn't work. So
it's just like from what I hear about Secret Invasion, how they kind of did this whole backstory about the trials and tribulations that Nick Fury went through as a young black man. And I'm like, Nick Fury wasn't a young black man. He was a white guy. You know what I mean? It's like, they just want to rewrite the whole history of the guy because they changed his race.
I know.
So, look, I love Samuel L. Jackson portraying that part in the movies, a couple of them anyway. I like but that's still not my Nick Fury.
No, it's not. It's not. I mean, the original Nick Fury was Clint Eastwood. I mean, done and done. The original Nick Fury was Clint Eastwood. But the issue, the reason why, and back then, I mean, this is, God, the first Avengers was how long ago now? But so back then, the race swapping, when they made Samuel Jackson Nick Fury, that was actually comic book accurate for the Ultimate line of Marvel Comics. So, and literally, I mean, the artist and the writer literally drew and wrote Samuel L. Jackson before he was ever cast in the movie, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, that's what it was. And Mark Millar uses a lot of pop references and pop culture references. So Samuel L. Jackson really worked in the Ultimate line as Nick Fury. It was just
worked in the movies for it because
absolutely
of who he was. I mean, just Samuel L. Jackson. He's going to sell any role. It was the right name. At the same time, I can't get behind rebuilding and the whole backstory because, like I said, us old guys, we ain't dead yet.
Yeah, no, not at all. I can't stand that. I really can't. Like even the story of the way they changed everything for Krypton in the Man of Steel.
Yeah.
Basically being, I mean, it was a very, I don't know if I could say the C word, not the female C word, but the political C word without getting flagged or canceled. But I don't even know how to talk anymore. It's so fucking stupid. Yeah. So the political party, the C word, okay, and the way Krypton was structured was very much in line with that, and it was like, I don't really want that. I don't need, even though it was a small part of the movie, it was like, it just, it was getting to the point, like, even then, it wasn't like it is now, where it's completely obvious. But even then, they were sneaking things in where it's like, I don't need to read, the Daily News and have to compare it to the Man of Steel. Like, let sci-fi be a lot of things. Don't be political. But, anyways, so the cartoon still going good, in my opinion. I know there's people that don't like it. Very valid. That's pure. I mean, I try to be objective and not subjective. So, for instance, when I see a race swap, I wonder, okay, would I really be pissed off about this 15 years ago? And sometimes the answer is no. Sometimes the answer is yes. It makes no sense to me. Perry White being African American, I'm fine with. Jimmy,
I don't think I get pissed off. I look. It's sad. It's pathetic that you can't come up with something creative and new.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay, but that's the way I look at it. It's like, look, I can get behind any good character of any gender or race. Give me a good character. Don't take an existing character and fuck it all. Look,
no,
man,
and that's
Elektra is not Daredevil.
Right. Yes. It's funny.
Me, dude. It's like Elektra is one of my very favorite characters in all of comics.
Daredevil was mine. Daredevil. I picked up Daredevil when Kevin Smith did that run on the Marvel Knights, and I had not read Daredevil before, and immediately he shot up to number 1 for me. And then after Bendis took over, it just became. I mean, this is how much I love Daredevil. I saw the Ben Affleck movie 7 times in the theater.
But see, I'm not a Daredevil fan. I'm an Elektra fan.
Oh, no, I know. Same world.
Assassin. She is not a hero. No. She is not the savior of Hell's Kitchen. No. She is not Daredevil. She kills people. You have watered down one of my favorite characters.
I know. But again, that's part of the MO is part of the MO is destroying what people like. Or this is something else that they do too. They build new things that give you hope, like the Batman with Robert Pattinson. I loved that movie. Me and my wife left the movie. We were awestruck by the filming, by every aspect of that fucking film. And I was like, they better not make another one, and I know they're going to.
They're gonna fucking
they're gonna do it. They purposely make something good to give you hope, and then they ruin it on the second one, and then they'll do 5 shitty ones. And Robert Pattinson doesn't care; he's an actor. What the hell? He doesn't care about Batman. I do, but a lot of stuff I've had to walk away from, dude. But so 7:43. I got 15 minutes. Superman Returns. Let's get to Super. This is the only other thing I wanted to talk about on this one, having to do with Superman because of the cartoon, which I am enjoying so far. We'll see episode to episode. Superman Returns was when it came out. I asked people. I went to see it and I loved it. I asked people, and they're like, I didn't like it. How come? How come you didn't like it? He didn't hit anybody. Okay. It's kind of weird. If he did, they'd be dead. But okay, he didn't. You might not know. And then I talked to numerous people. That was the number one complaint. Is basically I took that as not enough action. He didn't hit anybody. Okay, Superman. That's not really Superman. And the other thing that they said was, "Did you like it? No. How come? I don't like Superman. Then why the fuck did you pay to see the movie? Like, it was really, really weird." So I understand that Brandon Routh, he was a cop. He unfortunately he played a copy of Christopher Reeves, which you can't do. But I believe they were kind of playing it safe, and I think they did a good job. Now, that being said, even the Lois Lane, I don't remember her name, the actress's name in Superman Returns, but having now seen Amy Adams, you have to now have an appreciation for the poor actress that played Lois Lane. I think she got worst Lois Lane award or something like that for Superman Returns. By far not. But I completely disagree. I thought the story they had developed was good. It moved the cinematic. Him having a son moved everything forward in a way that I found really intriguing. I wanted to see the next movie. I wanted to see, which I guess he would have thought Doomsday. So says the director that flew to South America because of, I think, sexual assault allegations. Hollywood, what a place! What a place!
Yeah.
But I really, that movie did well. The excuse they said, and remember, this is back then. That movie made $450 million, and this is back then. All right, a long time ago, longer than you think, because it goes by so fast. That movie would easily, I think, if you were to make the adjustments for inflation and all that bullshit, probably 7 maybe 7 million. It did 750. It did really well. And the studio said it didn't make the money that they wanted. And no one understood what they were saying. It was just a ridiculous statement. I think there's a lot of stuff going on with contracts. But we now have another. So we can take Superman Returns. And all we had was Christopher Reeves to compare it to. Now we can take Superman Returns and compare it to newer iterations of Superman. And there's a caveat to this. I mean, if you like Man of Steel, you like Man of Steel. That's okay. It is what it is. I hate Dave Matthews Band, but they're a good band. I can't fucking stand them. It's just opinions. I'm trying to be objective about this. So, objectively, the Man of Steel was not the characterization of Superman. It was not. I've never seen a more depressing, brow-furrowed Superman in my life. I mean, it's like he had. I just can't believe how they wrote the poor guy. You even felt bad for him. He was always just his little eyebrows always had like, oh my god, like what am I gonna do? I'm so handsome with all these powers. Like fuck off. So dumb. So now we have that to compare it to. I submit that Superman Returns, if you didn't like it before, give it a watch, because the filming was unbelievable. The filming was beautiful. It really was. It was beautifully shot, beautifully framed. The colors, the sepia tones, absolutely gorgeous. There are things in there that you might not have caught the first time. For me, I've watched it numerous times. By the way, best flying scenes, best flight scenes of any Superman ever. Even Christopher Reeves. They didn't have the technology back then. Superman Returns has the best flight scenes ever. In any movie, any cartoon, it is so superbly done. And the special effects back then compared to now, holy shit. You would think it's actually Brandon Ruth flying through the clouds. There's pretty close-ups. There's close-ups of his face, CGI, but you can't tell. They were really, really good back then. And I like the story. The story was absolutely fine. Lex Luthor, let's talk about Lex. All right. He was no Gene Hackman. I get it. But he actually did play a different version of Lex Luthor than Gene Hackman did. Brandon Routh played a copy of Christopher Reeves. My opinion. Lex Luthor, this was a different Lex Luthor than Gene Hackman's, in my opinion. I like this one. I love them both. Gene Hackman has a special place, but I like this one as well. Really dark. The fact that he stuck him with a kryptonite shiv, dark. But he came from prison, and he has this hatred in him. It may have been maybe too much for a Superman movie, but it did make sense. It really did make sense. He had his prison gang around him the whole time, kicking the crap out of poor Superman to the point where, I mean, it was breaking my heart. Like they really did film that scene really well. And then he sticks a shiv in him. Like, oh my God. Okay, he really hates him. But it established so much, and we'll never know where it could have gone. And that's the part that's upsetting. It really is. There's something that maybe people may have missed too. There's little things throughout the movie, because I forget the guy's name, Bryan Singer. He's the one that fled due to allegations.
Yeah.
Turns out he probably would have been just fine. No one ever goes to jail. Fuck it. So he is actually, he can't handle large movies. Every large movie, large special effects movie he's ever had, he's fucked up. He cannot handle. He needs to stay medium to low. And Superman Returns was like medium. All right, so the way he, what was I gonna say? Damn it, I can't remember. Okay, I was gonna make a point about something about Superman. Now I can't fucking remember. Oh, okay. So
I could totally change gears on Superman for a second, if you want.
What's up?
Have you noticed that Allison Mack totally destroyed any credibility that Smallville had?
Oh my God, dude.
Nobody, when they're talking about Superman, talks about Smallville anymore.
No, they don't. They don't. And I don't know if it's like, but I think those people are still doing like the circuits, the conventions. You know what I mean? Like, the guy that played Lex Luthor has his own podcast, which is really good on YouTube. He interviews other actors.
That's when you start talking about Lex Luthor. I started thinking about that dude because I liked the way that dude played young Lex. Right?
Okay, I'm gonna.
Nobody talks about Smallville, and I think it's because of Allison Mack, dude.
I'm gonna say, and this is again, I might get hate, but I never watched Smallville. I never watched. There's a reason though. I never watched Smallville was probably good. I don't know. I'm sure it was. People loved it, right?
I loved it. It was
a different world back then. I'm sure it was very good.
Like everything, it falls off when they start running out of ideas.
That's what I heard. Like again, the first 3 or 4 seasons great, and then they have to keep pushing.
Yeah, and then they start going stupid.
But when I'm watching Superman, I need the cape. I can't. I just can't. If I had one gripe about Brandon Routh as Superman, is that he looked too young. His facial structure was good, but he really looked like he was like 19 years old or 20 years old. Whereas Christopher Reeves and also Henry Cavill, I'm 47 years old, but when I look at them, I see a man. I'm way older than they are when they were playing the part of Superman. But when I look at them, I see a man. When I looked at Brandon Routh, he was very boyish. That was my one gripe about the look of him as Superman. I think he did his best at acting, as being a copy. Which, again, I think if we had gotten a next movie, they would have figured that out. But yeah. So there's a funny thing that was written into the script. You can see in the movie, Perry White, whenever there's danger or where there's, like, let's say there's something happening behind him, he's always looking in front of him. Right. Or if something's happening in front of him, he'll turn around and, like, he'll never see. It's funny. The editor-in-chief of the Daily Planet, wherever there's something happening, it's ironic humor. He's looking the other way.
He misses it. Yeah, he doesn't see it.
It's really funny, and you don't catch it the first time, but then you notice it once, and then it happens throughout the movie. Yep. And I was like, wow, that's good writing. That's not necessary. That's the difference between getting from A to B and making getting from A to B mean something. And stories nowadays, they're just, we got to get here, so we're just going to take a straight line to here. But stories back then, if you want, even like the first Ninja Turtles movie, there are things that don't need to be in the movie, but they add to it in an endearing way. It's part of storytelling.
It's like Mike Baron's writing. I tell people this all the time. It's like you'll be reading a Mike Baron story and you'll get 3 or 4 pages down the road from something that was a little bit profound, but you didn't quite. And you'll get like 3 or 4 pages down and you'll go, wait a minute. You'll go back and you'll read it again. Yeah. Because there was something there you missed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mike Baron writes like that, layers upon layers of intrigue and innuendo, and it's like you don't want to read it too fast. Right. Speed readers miss out on all the good shit. I just want you to know that.
Yeah. No, I know. And it is. It's and I'm not going to say that like Hollywood, a lot of people with the large channels are like, they can't Hollywood. They can't find talented people. They don't know there's plenty of talented people. There's plenty of them. They just don't. They would never get their foot in the door. Because it's not the talented people that would do anything for a job. It's the talentless people that will do anything for a job. And they'll just do whatever they're told. And then we get things that we get today. It's a freaking shame.
Yeah,
and right. It sucks. It really sucks.
You know what? I got Tubi and Freevee and a couple of these like free streaming services that have a bunch of the old shows on. I think I'm going to start a review show of old shows.
Yeah.
Because some of these people haven't even seen some of this stuff. Like, do you remember La Femme Nikita?
I remember the show. I never watched it, but I know what you're talking about.
There was 2 different versions of the show. There was the Peter Wilson seasons, and then it kind of ended. I don't know what happened to her. She got killed or something. And then it's like, they brought in a different actress, and they started another series, right?
Yep.
So there's 2 different series of it, but it's really good. It's good stuff from back in the day when you had men that were men and women that were badass, and they all got along and worked together, and everybody kicked ass and no stupid shit, right?
There's no time for nuance anymore, and you need nuance to make it seem real. Okay, this is how far back I love MASH. I haven't watched MASH in a lot of years, but I actually have like MASH.
Probably saw every episode.
Dude, that had horrible ratings for 4 straight seasons until it caught on. If you have horrible ratings for 4, not in this world, because this world is based on horrible ratings. Let's say pre-2016, all right, before everything went nuts. If you had horrible ratings for 4 episodes, you were fucking out. Yeah. Let alone letting something germinate for 4 seasons. I mean, and then it became the greatest show of all time. You'll never have that again.
Now, I got to admit, I like the original cast better than the Henry Potter and Winchester. I like the original. I like Trapper. I like, Old Man Morgan. I like the original set. Okay, but that show went on for a long time, man.
It did, but it took 4 seasons to get good reviews, and it's like nothing would ever make it 4 episodes. It's just unbelievable.
Subject matter, though, it's like we had just come out of serious war.
Oh yeah. And
here's a war show.
Yep. Yep.
I mean, that was just kind of, I'm surprised it got off the ground at all.
No, you're right, because the sentiment for that war was not a positive one. Or was that one the Korean, or was that Vietnam?
Yeah, that was the Korean War, but then you also had it had just come out of Vietnam.
It had just come out of Vietnam, though, and the sentiment for war was not a positive one.
So it took 4 years for it to catch up. I mean, it was well written. It was good. You go watch the first 4 seasons; they were good. They were
still good. Absolutely. It just amazes me, like how much things have changed, in the entertainment field. And
the more things change, the more they stay the same, because you had the same people back then bitching about something political and then canceling a show because of their fifis.
Yeah.
And that's what the critics were trying to do, was cancel that show, but it didn't work like that back then.
And then we got more shows like Archie Bunker and All in the Family and shows that became absolute classics. And Archie got his ass
Hanford and Son. There were so many shows that were just in your face, dude.
Dude, even The Office, something as recent as The Office would never be made now. I watch that literally almost every night. That's one of me and my wife's go-tos is The Office. Mm-hmm. That show wouldn't be made now. There's at least 5 episodes that they would never air now. And they're not even that bad. They're not bad at all. It's just humor. It's humor that's not allowed now. It's sad. It's really sad.
I think you killed this first this premiere episode, brother.
Appreciate it. Hey, man, with your help, because I'd still be sitting here in the dark without you. So Thank you so
Well,
much.
I mean, I didn't plan on hanging out with you, but since it's like
nothing was working. It took us 45. Like my playtime before the show was taken up by just trying to get me on the fucking screen. You know what I mean?
And this is what I was going to say. I was going to say afterwards, if you and Britt want to just stay in the thing and mess around and play, go to the workstation and mess around in your studio and play, and maybe add some other, if you want to add some still art or something as overlays, whatever you want to do is your studio now.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
So,
I mean, I can't, honestly, to be honest, I can't tonight. I have to finish a page for Chris so I can buy groceries tomorrow. But I mean, honestly, it's that bad. Like I gotta get, as soon as I'm gonna go get groceries before I go to work tomorrow, because oh god, the struggle is real, folks. The struggle is real. But yeah, we will be messing around before Monday, because Monday we're going live again, right?
Yeah, but hang out for a minute. I want to show you one thing.
No problem. Problem.
You can download this right out of the studio and pop it up on your YouTube channel.
Okay.
Okay,
awesome.
So I'm going to show you how to do that real quick before you.
Awesome. Okay.
All right. For everybody else, thanks for watching. On Monday and Friday nights, Ron's going to be out here. Different topics, maybe some guests. You never know. It's new. He's just feeling out his YouTube. He's feeling out his streaming. Where he's going to fit in. I think this is going to be good. I'm not going to be out here with him every week, but
no. Sooner or later, I got to walk on my own, Pops.
Yeah, I will be here to produce when he needs me, but I think Britt will probably be taking that job, and that'll be cool.
Yeah. Yep.
So everybody watching, have a good night. We will see you. Oh, wait a minute. We have 28 minutes, and we have a recorded version of Timothy Fling's Holden's 11. Okay, because Tim's on vacation right now, so he sent me a recorded version of one of his Holden shows. So check that out at 8:30. We could have maybe a reality gaming stream tonight in the middle of the night. You never know. Stuff happens around here. So.
Oh yeah. Worried by the
I'm going to play the 2 commercials I didn't have loaded because I loaded them while you were doing your show. I'm going to play the 2 I didn't have loaded earlier, our sponsors. You guys know our friend Brett Giuliani over there at the Detective Potatoes and the Dust Bunny Mafia. We're going to play his ad, and then we're going to play the Committed Comics Nira X ad. And maybe a couple others. You never know. It just depends on how I feel. Because peace, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Fairview's coffee has mysteriously gone missing. Mayhem ensues when strange, coffee-craving zombies plague the city. Detective Mickey Potatoes, an overworked public servant, uncovers why ordinary citizens are losing their minds and how to stop the coffee apocalypse. But it involves the mafia. And when you're dealing with mafia crime families, nothing is ever easy. The mafia controls everything in the city, including the police, including him. If he breaks the mafia, they will break him. So, the city is without coffee. The city is burning before his very eyes, but he's powerless. Detective Potatoes has the power to stop the coffee apocalypse, but if he does, he could lose everything.
Civil War was America's bloodiest conflict. Over 500,000 died to preserve national unity. When the war ended, Confederates like Harley Brogdon headed west, shooting game for the Army and gambling. When a card game turns deadly, Harley shoots in self-defense, killing the card sharp who threw down first. Wilfred Knorr, the card sharp's wealthy father, will stop at nothing to see Harley hang. Harley flees to Cobb's Gap, an old silver mining town at the foot of the Rockies. A remarkably peaceful town, especially after dark. But the sheriff harbors a dark secret, and no one dares go into the mines anymore. Cobb's Gap is full of secrets. People speak in hushed tones of something in the mines. Something worse than their cursed sheriff. Something even the Indians fear from the deepest pits of hell. Every secret will be exposed. Bronze Star. Order your copy at bronzestarcomic.com.
Entertainment Group presents the Madness Comic Network with original programming and additional comic-related content.
Comic Books for Kids provides comic books to kids in hospitals and cancer centers across the U.S. It's a place where we can all work together to make sure every child has a comic book. 100% of all proceeds go towards the kids. It's about making a difference, and while they're in the hospital, allowing them to fly like a superhero, battle dragons, or rescue teddy bears. We are in every state in the country and now support over 160 hospitals. Every month, we add more.
Visit cb4k.org.
How do you end this thing? How do you put the... Where's the brakes on this bus? I forgot.
Jazz hands. Jazz hands are great.